Okay, everyone, thank you very much. I think we'll get started soon. Okay, Sachin, we'll get the ball rolling.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to this wonderful venue. This is the home of IEF. Some of you may know that this is the library at which Bapa President B.J. Habibie used to conduct a lot of meetings. Pa Ilham Habibie, who is one of the advisors of the Indonesia Economic Forum, kindly consented that the home of Indonesia Economic Forum would be this room. So here we hold a lot of roundtables. Every month we have 2 or 3. And at the end of the year, we do a hybrid summit. So this discussion today actually is a panel of speakers only. We don't have audience here. The audience are all virtual. We have about 1,000 members of Indonesia Economic Forum who are logged on both Zoom as well as YouTube. And the programs that we record here in the studio would be put onto our YouTube channel, and it would be available to about 10,000 viewers across the next 3 months. So the time zone doesn't allow foreign participation from Europe and the US, because at this time it's midnight, it's 2 in the morning or 1 or 2 in the morning. Therefore, they follow us and our discussions on the recorded episodes, which would be immediately available on our YouTube channel at the end of the day. So welcome again, once again, to the Indonesia Economic Forum. This session actually is a special session. It's a breakaway from the topic, because as you know, the topic for the 2 days is the power of digitalization across the regions. But this is a standalone topic. It is on specifically the presidential dialogue, state of the nation. It's a political outlook. We talk about the economy, we talk about social issues, we talk about the campaign, we talk about the agenda and the platforms of the 3 candidates for the election that's coming up on the 14th of November. My colleague, Shoaib Kagda from SMU, has consented to be the most competent moderator for the session, because he understands this topic a lot better than I do. So over to Pa Shoaib, who will introduce the speakers for today, as well as he would moderate the session, which is with the speakers, and then there would be like a Q&A session with all the participants here. Thank you very much, and over to you, Shoaib.
Thank you, Sachin, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this very historic, very iconic location for, I think, what I hope will be a very invigorating and insightful discussion this afternoon. I know all of you had lunch already, but this really is the main course. I hope you didn't eat too much. Because more to digest here. Anyway, Indonesia is about to enter a very interesting and I think probably a landmark period in terms of setting the course for the country for the next 2 decades. I think the next election will be very critical because Indonesia has this 2045 target coming up. In terms of what it would call Indonesia Maju. It wants to be a developed country. It has set itself some very ambitious goals. So the next leader of this country will be very critical in terms of getting the country and the nation to where it wants to be and where the people aspire to be. It wants to be a developed country, with a per capita income of 6,000. It wants to achieve net zero. It has some very, very clear ambitions. So we are very privileged today and very proud to have with us representatives from all 3 of the presidential campaigns. I'm very grateful to them for making time to be with us today at for this year's Indonesia Economic Forum. I understand that actually they all know each other very well. They're all very good friends. I'm not sure they're good friends behind closed doors, but when they get out there, I'm not sure how competitive they will be. But anyway, it's an honor to have them. Let me just introduce them one by one. According to the numbers that have been given to them by Kepu, I will also follow the same format, so as not to rock the boat, yeah? So we have a very good friend of mine, Pa Wijayanto, Samirin. He's an economic advisor for Timnas AMIN. So, but that's what do you call it? The first number 1. And then we have Dradjad Wibowo. He's a senior economist and tim kampanye TKN, Koalisi Indonesia Maju, Prabowo, Gibran. And then we have Pak Anton Gunawan, who is representing Tim Pemenangan Nasional GAMA, which is Ganjar and Mahfud. We also have other representatives from the camps here, Pak Fadil and Pak Hotasi also are here, and we'll have Pak Tom Lembong joining us from Team Anis in a short while. So the way this will work is I'm going to ask each of them just a very quick 5-minute, is it on? Yeah, 5-minute introduction of their campaign and their key priorities. It can be economic, it can be social, it can be security, but just 3 key priorities that you will be focusing on, for this, if you were to win office. So maybe I'll start with Wijayanto.
Thank you. It has been wonderful. It's really iconic, and the discussion is also very important. The topic is also very iconic. It's also iconic in the sense that Pak Anton finally joining political campaign after years, focus on professional as a bankers. We are 78 years now. Not us, I mean Indonesia, 78 years at the moment. But despite the 78 years old, we still have plenty of paradox, plenty of problem, plenty of inequality. For example, we spend a lot of money to build infrastructure, but instead of improving the economic efficiency, it's worsening the economic efficiency if we measure it using I-Core, for example. Instead of reducing the logistic costs, the logistic costs still the same, 24% of GDP. It's high compared to other countries in the region. We are very proud of ourselves as a maritime nation, as an agricultural nation. But in fact, most of fishermen, most of our farmers are very poor, very, very poor. In 2015, I think we're in an event. We have COP21 event in Paris. Our government very proudly signed the net zero emissions commitment. But yet, nothing serious has been done to reduce the emission. I think there's a lot of paradox in Indonesia. We can make the list very, very long, but our view is because we let the paradox stays, Indonesia became like Indonesian today, a lot of inequality. That's why when we are talking about 2045, we are not talking about GDP per capita of 30,000 US dollars. We are not talking about numbers, but we are talking about a very important milestone for this nation, which is we are one nation, we are one country, but we haven't becoming one prosperity. So our goal, when we are talking about Indonesia Emas, 100 years anniversary of Indonesia, is not about number, but about Indonesia as a one economy, as a one prosperity. That's why in our policy, in our manifesto, in our agenda, we prioritize growth. It should be combined with equity and also sustainability. The second and the third is, in my view, rather absent today. To make it happen, we need to change. People are always afraid, oh, you have to change. What will be changed? A lot of things will be changed, and so forth. Actually, the complete narrative is continuation and change. So continuation first and then change. But people, the media, oftentimes focus on the second, change, because it's become big news. Continuation means everything good will be continued. Everything not good should be improved, should be changed. And it can be project, it can be program, but one in certain is change of mindset. In the past, our government focused on rowing. I think all government all over the world focus on rowing. The government have the energy, has the budget, has the strategy, has directing the direction of a nation. But that's over. I'm sure we are familiar. Back to 90s, everybody talking about reinventing government. From rowing to steering the private sector, do a lot of things, stimulating the economy to grow, become the power engine of the economy, but then the government steering, directing the nation into a certain direction. But according to AMIN, that's too luxury today because the government only know a little, especially with the digital economy, a lot of new variables coming in. We are entering an uncharted territory, so we would like to change from steering into facilitating and collaborating. So AMIN would like to involve private sectors, civil society, expert in designing policies. Nowadays, they are involved, but not in a meaningful way. What we know, what happened often right now is the government design everything, and then one day before the announcement, they inviting technocrats, they inviting business communities to discuss. Not in a meaningful way because there is no change to change the substance of the law because tomorrow it will be announced. So certainly we would like to change the mindset from steering to facilitating and collaborating. I think that's for the opening and looking forward for a fruitful discussion with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Wijayanto. So I think well put in terms of the approach Pak Anies will take in terms of leading this country. May I now move to Pak Dradjad in terms of telling us what would be the key priorities for Pak Prabowo and Pak Gibran in terms of, it could be economic, could be security, it could be foreign affairs, but what would you be really focusing on, or one or two things that you'll be focusing on?
Okay, thank you, Pak Suhaib. Good afternoon, everyone. The strategy that we have is basically it's Pak Prabowo's and Pak Jokowi's visions, transforming the nations. That's why we entitled our program, Transforming the Nation into the Indonesia Emas 2045. And by transforming the nation, we will transform virtually almost everything, including the nutrition status of our children from within the womb of the mothers into growing up as under fives, as school children, and until high school. And in defining the transformation, we realize that we are facing some very big challenges. Maybe you might be surprised that we put climate change as our biggest challenge, Pak Suhaib, as #1 challenge for Indonesia. Why? Because we realize that we are a maritime country. And climate change will affect us very, very severely. Just take food production, just take food stability. And we also realize that we have to maximize our demography bonus. And we realize that we only have around 13 years to maximize that potentials. Because otherwise, we will be losing the opportunities. And we recognize that 2/3 of our productive age populations are millennial generation and Generation Z. And that amounts to around 128 million kids, if we can call it kids, because I'm a grandpa already. We also realize that we have huge natural resources, but some resources are already depleted. So we develop our strategy based on that realization. And philosophically, we will achieve it by what we call ekonomi Pancasila. And Pak Prabowo spelled out about the details of ekonomi Pancasila, but basically that we cannot be too liberal, but we cannot be a common economy either. So we will take the middle road. And we also give examples, the application of economic Pancasila by Pak Jokowi. I need to check the data first. For example, Pak Jokowi's government already already gave Kartu Indonesia Sehat for 96.8 million people having free BPJS health insurance. Kartu Indonesia Pintar 17.9 million. Kartu Sembako 18.7 million, and so on. While at the same time, we also involved in some trade agreement with EU, trade agreement with Canada. We continue our trade agreement, free trade agreement with Australia and others. So that's to give some examples on how we will implement ekonomi Pancasila. So based on the challenges, based on the potentials that we have nickels, we have all minerals, we have huge biopotentials. We are the largest producers of palm oil. Based on our potentials and also our populations, then we develop our programs. In economic terminology, we aim to achieve a 6 to 7% of growth, which means around 1% additional growth from the current one. How do we do it? To some degree, you may call it Keynesian stimulus, to some degree, because we aim to provide as many Keynesian stimulus as possible given our state budget. And we also propose 8 quick wins program, what we call it in bahasa is program hasil terbaik cepat, PHTC. It's quick wins basically. Number 1 is we will provide free meal, free lunch, and milk for school children. And for you, most of you, Ambassador, Excellency, actually we follow India's example here to provide free meal for our school children in order to, as an effort to provide solution for stunting, and also for many other things, because we realize that nutrition intake for our school children still way below standard, and we won't be a strong nation if we don't take care of our children. We also provide nutrition for bumil, for pregnant women. That's why we take care of the children from the womb. And we also develop housing programs for millennials. We plan to provide some maybe you can call it subsidy, but it's all incentive for millennial couples to have house, because we realize that housing become too expensive for them now. Even my own kids, I have to subsidize him to get a house. You know, it's getting too expensive for our kids. And also they have to live far away from the business centers, which means they have to travel so far away to get into work. Also, we will continue Pak Jokowi's program on hilirisasi, on the downstreaming of the industries. We have already identified 21 commodities. Actually, it's not us. Actually, it is a BKPM, 21 commodities that downstreaming can be developed. And of course, it will require youth investment. And I hope Pak Sueb and the Indonesian Economic Forum can help us to find suitable investors. We will continue Pak Jokowi's program to build IKN, to build the new capital cities. We will continue Pak Jokowi's many of Pak Jokowi programs. We will continue, and we add some more. Actually, we plan to build 10 cities, not in the span of these 5 years, but new cities, because we plan to build a new epicentrum of growth in the outer islands, not in Java. And also, we would like to do our best on water self-sufficiency, energy self-sufficiency, and also air, energy, and food sufficiency, but not all food. Several foods that we can produce domestically. With energy sufficiency, you may realize that Indonesia last year is having a 25 billion deficit in oil. And we plan to maximize the use of biofuel. So we plan to develop more tebu plantation, more sugarcane plantation. We plan to develop more, comprehensive strategy on the use of palm oil between food and energy. So basically, our strategy towards energy and toward green economy is to use more biofuel. Do I have my time up?
Yeah, maybe 1 minute to wrap up, Pak.
Okay, well. So basically, to wrap up, we realize that the challenge facing us is very big, but we are grateful that the current government, Pak Jokowi's government, and also previous governments has already laid some good foundation for us to work on, and we realize that we have to rely more on our human resources than our natural resources. So that's our strategy is built toward that. I think that's the wrap up. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you very much, Pak Dradjad. So a continuation of the current government's policies, but of course, focus a lot on nutrition in terms of trying to address the issue of stunting in Indonesia, which has been widely acknowledged. May I now please invite Pak Anton Gunawan from the Team GAMA to maybe just give us some of the key priorities of your campaign.
Okay, thank you, Pak Sueb. Nice to see you again
Yes,
after a long
it's been
time.
some time.
Yeah. Okay. Pak Dradjad Wibowo already said about the continuation. But if we look at the situation that Indonesia facing, especially now, I think, we are still having a demographic kind of dividend, but that's not belong, be too long. So we have to move fast to move fast and faster to make Indonesia is a leading country, a leading economy. And how to do that? We devised this program based on what the usual, based on the theoretical foundation of the increasing productivity, including using the 4 C's, the 4 capital. The 4 capital is physical capital, which is already being mentioned before, about infrastructure and interconnectivity, logistic, and so on, and also infrastructure for the social as well. Secondly, human capital. Human capital is very important because it's linked to the increasing productivity. We have a lot of low productivity labor, employment right now. So the aim is to increase this into a higher productivity, more productive labor with a middle income labor employee. So the human capital is very important, especially because if we look at the labor population, we cannot really rely on the number of population growth, because population growth is only about 1% right now. So additional have to come from the quality of labor. The quality of labor, and the other one is also increasing the labor participation rate. That's an important one. Increasing labor participation rate into a more higher productive, more skilled labor. Including and especially, I think, if we look at the women labor productivity rate is still very low. So if we can improve that, and women has a quality, higher quality in terms of the neatness and so on. So it can be improved if we do some reskilling training and try to do some kind of a little bit affirmative action to improve this. That's one of the idea with the human capital. Of course, this human capital is important and has to be backed up with the education program, better health coverage. With education, I think the program is also including to cover the school, the free school for the whole until the 12 years, yeah. And plus also, the target is, if possible, for the, especially for the a little bit poorer family, more and more graduate student in the family. Not just, if possible, so not really just stop at the secondary high school. So that's on the human capital part. But the third one is on the natural resources part. Like it or not, Indonesia has abundant. This is the opportunity for us. And we know that there's challenge in terms of the climate change, some sustainability program in the world that should be seen not as a constraint. This is an opportunity for us. Look at of Indonesian forests. We're not just talking about the plantation alone, but also we'll be talking about the forestry. Forestry has intrinsically, with a lot of forests in Indonesia, intrinsically, there's a lot of value in it in terms of the carbon sink, carbon capture. And we have to really optimize that. And we can use it through several means, including and especially also to improve the quality of environment as well. Environment and growth are not really a trade-off. That can be exploited in the sense that it can improve upon and support the growth that we try to want to achieve a relatively high target. If Pak Dradjad mentioned about 6 to 7%, we think that we should aim high. Is it possible? I know that's a very hard to achieve, but that's a target, that's the goal. We aim to really work very hard to achieve it. And the last one in the 4 C's is the social capital. This is the one which is so far, social capital is already improving, but still there are still a lot of things that need to be improved, including and behind or the environment of this social capital is the legal foundation. The legal reform is important. Governance improve is important because it can have some important impact on the efficiency of the business activities, economic activities. So one of the program, and especially because there's Pak Mahfud Sig here, Mahfud MD there, sorry, the Mahfud MD there, then we try to focus more on fighting all this corruption and some other type of bribery, high-cost economy. So improvements in the legal situation and the governance, including the bureaucracy reform, is very important, I think, in order to make it more efficient in terms of the economic activity, business activity. So that's basically, we think that it is still possible to achieve 7%, even though I acknowledge that it's hard, but still possible. And we'd like to do more hard work to achieve that. That's what we try to, it's this kind of promise, but let's see, we work together, not just the government, but also including the private sector, including also participation of the investors from all over the world coming into Indonesia. So there have to be laid out a relatively good investment climate. That's why we have said that the governance is also important to be improved. I think I should stop here.
Yes. Thank you very much, Pak Anton. I think we've heard from all 3 sides, all 3 camps now in terms of their key priorities, some of the key targets, some very quite ambitious. Now, of course, we want to have a discussion here. This is not about a presentation, it's really about a discussion. So we'd like to invite members of the round table. If any of you have a question, or even if you have a suggestion or a thought, please raise your hand and then we'll go around the table. Yes, Pak Nalin. And who would you address the question to? Can I have a mic?
My question is to the first 2 speakers, because Pa spoke about human capital, skilling, and I understand that from a continuity point of view. But what is the view of your candidates on skilling the human capital for Industry 4.0 and 5.0?
Okay, human capital is very important from our point of view. As a matter of fact, our vision consists of 4 focuses. One is human, second is space, cities, environment. The third is about interaction, meaning economy, social, and so on and so forth. The third is about institution. So 24% of our vision is about human. We are talking about improving the health, protecting women, helping pregnant women, improving the quality of a family, improving the quality of educations. So mandatory school up to 12 plus 1 years. And then university will make it affordable. Scholarship to go abroad, like LPDB would like to double. And we would like to promote vocational educational institutions, high school level, and more importantly, university level. So vocational university will become a very important areas for us, because we understand that now we are facing digital economy, we are lack of digital talent, and conventional university is not an institution that are very good of educating, digital talent. We need to collaborate with the private sectors. So we would like to push more collaboration between the university and private sectors by creating not only curriculum, but also a mixture of lecturer came from both sides. So the link between education and the private sector, including corporation, will be very important. So that's for the beginning. Looking forward for more discussion on human capital. Thank you, Mr. Nalin.
Thank you. Pak Dradjad.
Yeah, thank you, Pak. Very important questions. We already, first, of course, we will provide nutrition. We already said that. And then the second one, we would like to build a Sekolah Unggulan. It's a kind of special school for the most talented in order to harness, the best talents in Indonesia. And we also would like to increase the effectivity of LBDP, the Ministry of Finance scholarship. And maybe you don't know the fact at the moment, but at the moment it's only 60% of budget allocated for LPDP as used. And Singapore, India haven't become the main destination for our scholarship recipients, and we would like to do that, and we would like also to build to strengthen, to improve practical working relation with other Asian countries in providing skill course. Singapore, India, and China are the main countries that we are looking at, and also we also plan to provide millennial, what you call it, millennial startup loan for millennials, and as part of our digital economy strategy, we would like to gather the best brain in our digital technology, and also we encourage their cooperation with people from all over the world, because we understand that digital economy cannot be done alone by one country. And another thing is that we would like to digitalize our agricultural production, which means we require lots of talents in agricultural production, which means we need a lot of skilled workforce in digitalization of agriculture. which means we will have to encourage our partners from other countries to help us in this quest, because the best education are available everywhere, not only formal education, but also not only formal university and college education, but also what you call it, occasional or courses, I don't know, courses, sorry?
Special courses.
Special courses, yeah, special courses. So as I outlined earlier, our strategy is transforming the nation. And by transforming the nation, we need to transforming our young generation. We need them to be more skilled. We need them to be more well connected worldwide, not only talking about, you know, connection inside Indonesia. We need them to be able to tap in opportunities everywhere. So, but that's a huge area that become one of the priority in Prabowo 17th program. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, Manoj. Pak Manoj. And is behind you.
Thank you, Pak. My name is Manoj, Pak. Actually, let me just highlight you that I'm an Indonesian, Pak, so I will go to the voting next year. 2-3 months ago, Pak, I think for me, the decision was quite easy on who to vote. But what happened in the last 1.5 to 2 months have made me a bit confused. But I just would like to highlight something, Pak. 4 years ago, when President Jokowi won the election, he did a very good step, i.e. by bringing the loser into the cabinet. And I've never seen this in a lot of other places, that you actually bring your loser into the cabinet. And with this, you bring the political parties into the parliament. So he had a very strong support. Gerindra and other coalition members went into the parliament and supported him. So he had a very strong support in the parliament. So a lot of the laws, or a lot of policies was easily passed through laws. Like you had the omnibus law. You had the omnibus law in the health sector. My concern is for next year, whoever wins, will they bring I will not say the losers. It's just a matter who's leading and who's following. Will they bring the following into the government and form a strong coalition in the parliament to be able to pass laws, Because for me, for Indonesia to go into Indonesia Emas tahun 2040, what you need is everyone to work together, Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Who would like to take that first? Maybe Vijay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Pak. That news is quite surprising. Imagine it is happening in the US. After the competition, Biden win, and then finally Trump become a minister under Biden administration. Or what's the name of the vice president candidate?
Kamala Harris.
No. Trump. Pence.
Pence.
And then a couple
Pence.
months later, Pence joining the cabinet. That's why it's really very interesting news for the world. It's only happening in Indonesia. Now, I agree with you, Pak, that collaboration is very important. But also a working democracy is very important. We need check and balances. What's the importance of producing law in a very quick pace if there is no check and balances? If the law only profiting a small group of people, if there is no open discussion that involving people, academia, civil societies, oftentimes democracy is quite dynamic and noisy, but it's still manageable. What is we are working off is we are having a democracy, but it's only procedural democracy. It's not a meaningful democracy. former chairman of MK says that Indonesia is a republic, but it manages like a kingdomship. UK is a kingdom, but it manages like a republic. So in my view, yes, speed is important, but what is the meaning of speed if we are moving toward the wrong direction? So check and balance, a working democracy is very important, especially for Indonesia at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pak Anton or Pak Dradjad, you want to answer?
Please, Pak Anton first, because he hasn't speak up.
Yeah, I think that's the underlying. I think I mentioned about the social capital as one of the important capital to improve the economy. And that's also include some collaboration, some important and good relationship among the people. For the poorer people, I think social capital also means that the inclusion program. But for the elite and also some in the politics, I think collaboration and with the same view of aiming into an Indonesia mass. I think that's very important. And I don't think, I mean, we can argue, I think. I don't think there's a very significant partisanship in the parliament. And I hope that the government, I mean, Pak Ganjar and also Pak Ganjar and Pak Mahfud, MD, later on will try to also make a collaboration in a good sense to make it happen. I think that's I think if you can prove and you can also convince our partner in the parliament, I don't think it is will be a very significant partnership and very divided country later on. And hopefully it can also improve and smooth out all the regulations that are needed in terms of doing some of the reforms and the policies to achieve the Indonesia Mass 2045.
Okay, Pak. I think Pak Wijayanto wants to add something, and then Pak Dradjad.
Yeah. I think what happened at the moment in Indonesia is the process, what's so called by the corporatization of political parties. Political parties behave like corporation. So the elite, the leader, just like CEO or CFO in various corporations, they can move from one corporation to another corporation. That's good in one sense, but that's also challenging in the other sense. Challenging because this trend make most political parties in Indonesia has no clear ideology. In Indonesia, only PKS and PDIP has clear ideology. The other in gray area, something in between, okay? The good things about the corporatization of democracy, political party in Indonesia is that collaborations, inter-political parties is very possible because they are friends in the past and could be friends in the future. So it is very important. Just like in corporate, you can compete with another friend corporations one day. Next time, the corporation merger. Next time, you move to another corporation. So that's good. And on the other side, is also create additional challenge. I would like to highlight that this trend make it possible for collaborations inter-parties. So there is no strong, clear-cut partisanship in Indonesia. I agree with what Anton just mentioned. Again, what is important is real working democracy, And it's also important is collaborations among democracy, elite, and player in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you. Pak Dradjad, would you like to add?
Yeah, Pak Manu, thank you. The answer is yes. Simple as that. Yes, Pak Prabowo will take some best talents from the other camps if he and Mas Gibran were elected. Perhaps I have some advantage compared to my two other colleagues here because I serve in parliament for no, not because of income, because I have actual practical experience in parliament because I serve as a member of parliament some years ago. Opposition or not opposition, usually it happens only in the plenary session and only on some certain issues. But in working on deliberation of the proposed law, because I've been involved in many law deliberation, including the tax reform. I was one of the chairperson in the working group for our PPH, KUP, our tax procedures bill. We use our expertise there, and there's no party lines actually when we discuss details of the bills. As an example, my party, PAN, Partai Amanat Nasional, was part of Pak SBY's coalition at that time. But I was one of the most critical voice in the parliament against some of Pak SBY's policy, including in discussion of the bill. We even gebrak meja, bang on the table between us and the government until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to discuss the tax law. So when it comes into details of a bill, party lines usually become a little bit blurred, and usually it's the expertise and the experience of member of the special commission on the bill that matters. And he or she usually the one who will convince the party chairperson. This is the way. That's what happened. And with regard to Pak Prabowo's joining Pak Jokowi's administration, we need to look at that in the context of what happened prior to the election and after the election. Indonesia was so divided at that time. Many people talk about the dangers it poses toward our national unity. Many people worried about the social risk that it might bring. So when Pak Prabowo joined it was Pak Luhut actually the one who convinced him. And we think that's the best solution for Indonesia, because otherwise Indonesia might still be fragmented today. But we don't see it now today. We don't see a discussion based on based on religion, based on anything that's that's already been in the past. So it's a good thing. And if you see some heated exchange between political leaders at the time, at the moment, I think it will dissipate soon after the election. And if we won, I would be more than happy to take all my friends here to join and help us. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you very much. Pak, thank you for coming. We have another 10, 15 minutes. Maybe, yeah, Pak Sachin, your question?
Thank you. I had a question to all three of you. You know,
Pak
Indonesia...
Sachin,
Yes,
the
Pak.
Sachin I know that Sachin Tanduka.
I wish I was as good
He's
as
not
he
yet
was.
retired.
Sachin Tanduka itu
Cricket player.
biggest cricket player.
He's a cricket player.
One of the big,
One of the top, yeah. Okay, Pa. So my question actually is global. Yeah, it's more on global alliances. You know, Indonesia has been a member of ASEAN and hosted ASEAN this year. It hosted G20 last year, and it's among the nations, among the top economies of the world. What's your view, what's the party's view on Indonesia's role on a global stage? And what other, do you have any directions or priorities of how you would align with several of the other global nations as you go forward into the tenure, once elected? Yes.
To me?
All three, I think,
All three,
right?
yes.
Maybe Pak Anton first, maybe. Silakan, Mas Anton.
Oh, maybe.
Okay. I came here with my very smart friend, Professor Fadil Hasan. So why don't we borrow his brain to enrich the discussion in this room? So, Pak Fadil, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not an expert in the foreign policy, but I try to answer your question based on my experience in the business, for example, and then see this, what is the vision and mission of AMIN in these areas, you know. So I think, first of all, that based on our constitution, that the foreign policy we adopt is always and will be free and active foreign policy. It means that we would like to contribute to the, what do you call it, to the world peacefully, and then also try to what do you call it, try to contribute also to the justice of the world, and so on and so forth. So that's, I think, the basic foreign policy that we have. But Anies, in the recent speech, for example, and various occasions, mentioned additional things in the foreign policy, meaning that he would like to adopt foreign policy based also on the value, right? That I think is very important things right now, especially with the current situation in the geopolitics that we're facing today. The value is something I think that we miss so far. And then in the last 10 years or so, I think our foreign policy focus on the transactional, right? That is very important, but also equally important is the value. So that's something I think that we would like to add to that policy in the foreign policy in AMIN view. That one thing. Another things, I think also we realize that Indonesia now, I think, is becoming more important countries, you know. We are member of the G20, now we are, I think, the chairman of ASEAN. But that leverage that we have been utilized optimally, you know. For example, when the world facing what we witness in Israel and Palestine and Russia and Ukraine, I think, yeah, our contribution should be more optimal, you know, in addressing that issues. And the third thing is that also our economy is an open economy, you know, And then trade and investment is always an important part of our economy. So the next thing that we would like also to emphasize that how our trade and investment, especially with other countries, both regional and bilateral, will be expanded, through various comprehensive economic partnership agreement, or what they call it, the FTA or PTA, and so on and so forth. That's, I think, will benefit also our economy. So that's three things that I think will be focus of AMIN in his administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. Maybe Pak Anton?
Okay, thank you, Pak Swed. This is not my area, but I got a note from my friend Andi Wijayanto. So let me try to just briefly summarize what this idea is. First, I think it is true that Indonesia free and active foreign policy approach is deeply rooted in the principles of Dasar Sila Bandung, which is the 1955, which needs to be reviewed and contextualized into the geopolitical contemporary now. So that's one issue. I mean, one foundation which is very important, I think, in terms of the free and active foreign policy approach. And I should probably mention three other things briefly. Here is as a developing nation and part of the global South, Indonesia must prioritize enhancing dialogue, strengthening diplomatic relations, and optimizing cooperation with countries, particularly those with similar values, to create new world order that is just and peaceful. That's underlined is the peaceful as well. Amidst the ongoing geopolitical competition between superpowers. Okay, so still free and also try to be active. And as one of Indonesia's ambition is to become the leading country in ASEAN, it must maintain regional stability by recalibrating ASEAN's focus and strengthening the centrality. Yes, and lastly is as a maritime nation, Indonesia must prioritize national security and address territorial disputes with neighboring countries to achieve the vision of as superior maritime country, because Indonesia is archipelagic and so on. So maritime country is very important. So that means, I mean, again, free and active foreign policy, including diplomacy in the economic area as well, within the ASEAN, to enhance the cooperations on the economic and business, and also with some other countries, with important trading partners as well, and with the also focusing as well on the national, with can have a national interest, and giving some good relationship basically between the economic and business to improve, and it can be strengthening the improvement in the economy as well.
Thank you, Pak Dradjad.
Thank you, Pak Sachin. Do you notice that there is a shift in Indonesia foreign policy lately? That Indonesia become more assertive, become more straightforward. I myself, I once served in the National State Agency. Wouldn't imagine that Pak Jokowi will shift into such a position 9-10 years ago. And that I think the reason is because he has many discussion with Pak Prabowo. And if you notice, in Singapore, Shangri-La Defense Forum, Pak Prabowo, I don't know, I didn't advise him at that time, proposed a Russia-Ukraine conflict solution. You know? So assertiveness might increasingly, how do I put it? You might see an increasing assertiveness in Indonesia foreign policy, military strategy. And as Pak Prabowo already said in his reply to the question by the Japanese ambassador, that sir, if you already reach such a wealth in your nation, and we have the right to reach the similar wealth for our country. So if you help us, then we can work together. I think I know that's not very diplomatic to say, but I think that will characterize many of our decisions in the future, and that's already been laid down by Pak Jokowi, that he never budged, even amid very strong European Union pressure on our nickel downstreaming. It doesn't mean that Indonesia will become chauvinistic, it will become, no, there's no like that, but we will put Indonesia national interest, political geostrategy interest, and then if we can work together, then we will do it. And to be honest, in our team, we already discussed the possibility of Trump win in the US. How will it affect us? Because at the moment his number look increasing, so we have to discuss it. We have to discuss, all scenarios possible. And one thing that we realized that his win, he might pull out from Paris Agreement, and then it might jeopardize our shift into green energy, our shift into our transformation into net zero emission. Well, we need lots of investment there. For example, when I said about bioenergy self-sufficiency, lots of money needed there. And what if once we invest there, and then 6 months after Trump was elected, and then 12 months after he was inaugurated, that's something that Indonesia will have to face, and for sure we still maintain our non-aligned position, but assertiveness, I think, will become increasingly can be seen in Indonesia policy. Perhaps including the Middle East. Our position in the Middle East is that we support a two-state solution. And our European Union colleagues say that Israel won't see any peace without a two-state solution. And you can see that Pak Jokowi is become the envoy for the Organization of Islamic Countries to talk to President Biden about OIC decision. So I guess the next 5 years we'll see a very interesting geopolitical and military dynamics, and I guess we will have to deal with how to find we'll have to deal with the conclusion of the Russia-Ukraine war. And then the Middle East, and don't forget the South China Sea. We discussed very specifically about the potentials of conflict in South China Sea. Maybe not. We haven't. Me myself, I haven't anticipated an open war, but incidents seems to be just a matter of time to be happening. And we have to be prepared for that, and we already prepare some scenario. And Pak Prabowo and his team are very well equipped in preparing that scenario, because South China Sea will also affect our area in Natuna, around Natuna. Well, maybe in another session we can discuss more on geopolitical. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you very much. I think we'll wrap up soon. Maybe as the moderator, I get the last question. Before we wrap up. So I'm sure all three of the candidates and the camps have laid out a lot of your scenarios and what will happen, what may happen, what could be some surprises. So maybe if I can ask each of you, what is the one unknown that you're most afraid of as you move towards the election? No. So the one unknown that you think might impact your ability to win. Okay, so what would that be? Vija.
There'll be a lot of unknown thing, yeah. If I pretend that there is only one unknown, I can be wrong. A lot of moving variable, uncharted territory. So our strategy, just one, doing the best. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, very, very political answer from my very smart friend. Jarod.
We try to win it in one round.
One round, okay.
Sorry, I'm not being overconfident, but we try to win it in one round. And the unknown thing is that how to get additional votes that we needed. And for example, I told you in the lunch, I'm tasked with trying to get some votes from Muhammadiyah and PAN, that my own party, because some of my constituents are leaning toward number one. But I guess with my persuasion and charm, I guess I can convince them. Because it's very, very difficult to get from his side. Informal, this is an informal say, Om Taufik, the late Om Taufik Kemas told Ibu Mega that my family is actually part of Pak Sukarno's big family, and so I will be scared to steal from Bu Mega. No, it's just a joke. Yeah, I think that's the one known that we think that's how to get additional vote for us.
Additional votes.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Anton, what would be the one thing that you think might disrupt your ability to win?
This is his first political experience.
It's very hard to just pin. Yeah, again, I think I agree with the Wijaya. I'm not trying to be diplomatic, but I think it's very hard to really pinpoint one thing. But a lot of uncertainties, including and especially the foreign geopolitical situation, and including the economic uncertainty as well across the outside there, which may a little bit influence the domestic situation here. So again, just pick up your, if I may, your comment there.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. I think, thank you, Pak Wija, Pak Dradjad, Pak Anton, for your time. If I may just speak on behalf of the audience here, and I think behalf on all those of us who love Indonesia, that we hope for a peaceful, highly competitive election, and may the best team win. So thank you very much. I'd like also to thank Alethea and Sam and Wyatt for supporting this luncheon. Would you want to say a few words? No? Okay. So thank you very much. We'll take a short break and then we'll be back with the next session. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.